Hello, welcome to my video. Today we'll be checking out my tech mod that I have been developing for a while now. Basically, you start with a hammer and then you end up with steel. Now I know that it shouldn't be that complicated, but I made it that complicated because I wanted it to be complicated. So the final goal of this tech mod is to make electricity, Dyson spheres, and the modern tech we all know and love. Plus some futuristic tech like fusion reactions and stuff like that. Anyways, let's start. Let's start with the hammer. Currently, it has one use that is useful to making the steel, because technically you can turn copper into plates, but we're not getting into that. So what you want to do is put your material in your offhand and your hammer on your main hand, and you right click to get a plate or a sheet. It's kind of interchangeable. Yeah, so that's how you get the iron plates, the most essential part of the entire tech mod. Because without the iron plates, you won't be able to craft anything else. Well, except for the clay block mold, but we'll get to that later. With these iron plates, you can craft a good amount of items, but what we're going to focus on right now is the iron file, which is made with 2 iron plates and any stone. So here we have our iron file, right, and you're gonna need an iron ingot to turn into iron rods, and if you wanted it to, you could turn iron rods into screws, which are the most important ingredients in all of these crafting recipes. Like, you can't go like one crafting recipe without a screw. I mean, you barely see any recipes without screws. It's the quintessential ingredient in all of these crafting recipes. But in order to use the screw, you're going to need the iron screwdriver, which is made by crafting rods, stone, planks, and an iron plate. So we got a nice little progression here, because you have to get the hammer in order to get the file, and you have to get the file in order to create rods, and you have to get the rods in order to create screwdrivers, and you need that in order to use screws in your recipes. So like, whenever there's a screw, there's always a screwdriver. That is the rule of thumb. So, as you can see, the tech tree splits into multiple pathways. Sorry, fella. Now, the most important pathway out of all of these is the iron workbench, because without this, you cannot craft any of the machines you need in order to make steel. And the way it's crafted is using screws, a block of iron, crafting table, plates, 2 rods, and there's that screwdriver I was telling you about. Anyways, another essential tool is the iron hole puncher, because it punches holes in metal plates. Now, it's shaped like this because I just grabbed an image off of Google, and yeah. But it's crafted using iron screwdriver, screws, rods, iron. You get the idea. I recommend you install JEI, because that will be useful for some of the recipes in here. I need extended platform. So yeah, you're going to need JEI for like the starting bits, but there's only like 3 recipes in the iron workbench, so yeah. So the iron hole puncher is used to make punched iron plates, which works essentially the same as the iron file and the iron hammer. You just put this in your main hand, whatever you want in your offhand, and then you punch it, and then you got yourself your punched iron plates. It's really simple. Getting back to the iron workbench, you're going to need this in order to craft your machines, as I said before. So, this is what it looks like. This is what the iron bench looks like. So, you'll see that we have a 3x3 crafting grid in here. 3 slots on this end, 3 slots on this end. It's really quite simple. You just put your blueprints here necessary for the crafting. Put your screwdriver, your hammer. You put your tools in here that's necessary for crafting, because like I can't always fit a tool into every single crafting recipe in a crafting table. I would love to do that, but I'm aiming for more accurate stuff. And you may be thinking, wow, Peptune 1, this is Greg Tech. This is like Greg Tech. Well, that's what I based this mod off of. So yeah, this is Greg Tech. Until you reach tier 2, then it's gonna be HPM's Nuclear Tech mod, but that's for a later video. Anyways, you got yourself your 3x3 crafting grid, your tools over here, your blueprints over here. Now, what are blueprints? As you can see, there's this tab called Innovention Blueprints. So here we have the saw blueprint, the fluid tank blueprint, the crucible blueprint, and the mixer blueprint. Now all of these are necessary, well, except for the fluid tank because that's still in development, and the saw is not really necessary, just, yeah, never mind. So what we're really thinking about is the crucible and the mixer, because those are the 2 crucial blueprints for to make steel. Now how do you craft a blueprint? Well, you just get the resources necessary and you put a blueprint in the center. How do you make a blueprint? Well, you need both types of blue dye and some paper in order to craft an empty blueprint. So yeah. So what we're gonna do is go over here, because this has everything. And we're going to go to this, the lava heated crucible, which is used for metallurgy. So in order to craft the lava heated crucible, you're going to need 4 screws, 2 iron rods, a bucket, a modular iron frame, and a punched iron plate. So you know how to craft all of these already. Just look in JEI. See, you get bucket, screws, you get the idea. But to craft a modular iron frame, you're going to need 4 screws and 4 iron rods. So as you can see, this Minecraft mod will need a bunch of iron to work. But not all of it is cooked, as you will see very soon. Now, when you open up the lava heated crucible, you'll get this GUI. You have your material and your bucket. Now you put your bucket in here and your material in here. Now, you may think, oh, just put an iron ingot in there. Well, you are wrong. Don't put an iron ingot in there. Put a block of iron in there. Oh, so just put a block of— No. Where'd you get that idea? You put a block of raw iron in there. So you put in your block of raw iron, you put in your bucket, and then you melt it. Melt it. Oh wait, remember to put lava over your lava heating crucible. Otherwise, because it's in the name. Otherwise, it won't work. So just get your lava. Might want to just do this. Why am I using our planks? Oh, this looks good. Okay, so now you have your lava on top of your lava heated crucible, without it spilling over and ruining your entire base. So, what you want to do is get your block of raw iron and your bucket, then you melt it into your molten iron bucket. Now you can see you have molten iron. Now, getting back to the clay block mold. So, in order to get this, you're going to need clay and any type of shovel. So you get your clay, and you get your stone shovel, you right click, and you have your clay block mold. Now, you just you don't put your molten iron in your clay block mold, because then it will do something that you do not want it to do. Turn into a pure block of iron. Okay, maybe you do want that. In order to make steel, you're going to need to keep your molten iron bucket, because you're gonna need it. Now, we're gonna have to craft the heated mixer. So, you're going to need iron screw, iron gear, whisk, iron plate, and yeah, that's basically it. And you have yourself a heated mixer. Now, the heated mixer works just like this setup. You put a campfire or a regular fire in here, and then it only works with molten metals, cause I mean, that's just how it works in my mod. Don't question it. So you're gonna need your molten iron, and then your block of coal. Then you're gonna mix those two to make molten pig iron. Now what you're gonna want to do with your molten pig iron is put it in a clay block mold, right? You put it in, and you got yourself a pig iron block. Now, you can break it down to pig iron ingots. You can only blast them into refined iron ingots, and then combine with charcoal in order to get a steel ingot. And that is the entire texture of making steel ingots. So it's a lengthy process, but you're going to have to do it in order to get steel, because steel is essential for the next phase of my mod. Now, here's the small details that I haven't mentioned yet, like how to use the iron workbench, or what a heated saw does. Don't worry, I will cover all of that soon. So currently I have so you see I have my burner saw, my iron workbench, and my lava heat crucible. I'll put the heat mixer in here too. Excuse me. So, this is my setup. You can do whatever you want with your setup. You can just put this everywhere. You can do whatever you want. But this is the basic setup if you want to follow a template. So the heated saw is a nice little handy quality of life feature that will make it easier to get iron plates. Now what do I mean by that? Well, you just get your iron ingot, and then you get 2 iron plates in return, instead of hammering down a single iron ingot for a single iron plate. Now, but how do you make such a heating saw? Well, you're going to need iron screws, iron gears, iron plates, modular iron frame, blah 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 blah. So basically, you're also gonna need a stone cutter because that's the only source of a saw. Yeah, so that's basically how you make a heated saw and how it works. Now to how to use the iron workbench. We've touched on this before. The reason I haven't told you about this earlier is because it kind of needs its own segment. It's kind of complicated, but it's not that complicated. It's really complicated. Wait. So this board I have for a crafting recipe is like, so these are the blueprints, this is the screwdriver I'm using. So yeah, you're gonna need the modular iron frames, you're gonna need some iron plates, you're gonna need a stone cutter, you're gonna need screws. And here's an example on how to use it. So you put your stone cutter in here, put your screws in here, you put your modular iron frame in here, you put your plates in here, and then you put your gear in here. Now the assemble button, it's like a crafting table, but it just spawns whatever it crafts on top, as you will see very soon. So you just take this, right, that, blah, blah. I just realized I need. Yeah, so you're gonna need your tools, your blueprints in order for this to work. So you get your screwdriver, you get your saw blueprint, you get your iron screws, all basic stuff. So now you have your saw blueprint in here, your materials in here, and your iron screwdriver in there. You can click assemble and get all the heated saws you want. Yeehaw! So yeah, that's basically how to get a heated saw. So that's an example on how the iron crafting bench works. I guess you can see how it works. Now for the lava heat crucible, you're going to need a hammer and a screwdriver with the crucible blueprint. Now I know they all look the same, but that's because I don't want to overload my computer with a bunch of texture files for the blueprints. Also, I'm lazy. So yeah, you just follow this. So these 3 go in here, the tools section. This column right here goes in the blueprint section. This 3x3 crafting grid goes in here, the middle section. And this is what you get when you click assemble. You're probably gonna get it just by looking at this board now that I've told you how it works. Yeah, so you're just gonna get this lava heat crucible. In order to get the heated mixer, you're going to need your mixer blueprint, a screwdriver, iron gears, a whisk, and screws and plates to make a heated mixer. And you just do the same thing in here. Yeah. Oh, if you're wondering how to make a whisk, just search it in JEI. Yeah, so JEI is just gonna be useful for a lot of stuff in this mod. But not all the stuff. Right. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically my mod. Also, we won't talk about the heat mechanical extension, the silver, and this stuff, because that's still in development. Side note, these are steel beams. These are steel beams, which is basically a wall. Here's the steel casing for the next phase of the mod once you've unlocked steel. On here, the advancements, I'm still working on it. So we got Innoventions. We got It's Hammer Time. We've got Hammered Iron. We got, wait, that's not a folder. We got, that's a really thin cylinder. And we got Phillips Legacy. So yeah. Yeah, that's basically the tech mod for now. Tell me in the comments if you want this published to Modrinth, like, as soon as you see this video. Tell me in the comments if you want to see this on Modrinth in the state it is already. Because, like, I want to do the publish on the Modrinth when it's fully released, but I'm willing to publish it on Modrinth whenever you guys feel like you want it. You just won't get updates unless I make a video about the tech mod. Yeah, so subscribe!